welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands and airwaves of Naarm, where this conversation was recorded. Land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Tyler Preston is a passionate chef who discovered his love for cooking at just 12 years old in Wellington. After graduating high school, he moved to Melbourne at 18 to start his culinary adventure. With now over 20 years of experience behind him, Tyler actually began his career at the iconic Vegie Bar in Fitzroy, mastering the art of wok cooking. After a brief stint, or maybe distraction, in music and audio engineering, Tyler returned to the kitchen, becoming head chef at Melbourne hotspots like Declieu and Seven Seeds and working at Chin Chin. In 2013, he and his wife opened Sir Charles Cafe, which was shortlisted for Time Out's Best Cafe. I first met Tyler and chatted to him on the podcast a couple of years after that when he was at Dr Morse in Abbotsford, and happily caught up with him again when he was in Byron Bay running Bang Bang. During COVID, he founded South East Canteen, offering Asian-inspired private dining and ready-made meals. In 2023, Tyler moved to Bali to join the Milk and Madu Group, launching Longtime, a modern Asian diner and bar. Tyler is thoughtful and articulate when he talks about food and hospitality, and we discuss the ups as well as the downs of the industry as a whole. There are definite ups where Longtime is concerned. This is an exciting project, and Bali is now hot on my travel plans when Longtime opens in August. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. I bet that where you are is a lot warmer than where I am.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's usually high 20s. Yeah, just consistently.
Yeah.
Mid-30s.
How long have you been in Bali now?
It's been about 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 months. So it was, September last year.
So how did that all come around about? Because you're executive chef of the Milk and Madu Group, is that right?
Yeah, it's technically, yes. It's a group chef role, and it was originally meant to be like not a temporary gig, but like just a lead-in to the role with Longtime. So Longtime is the main, in fact, the only reason why I'm here is to open, that restaurant. But the timeline was kind of convenient. Like we were ready to just jump ship and just get this thing done. Yeah. And the executive chef of the group had recently vacated. So not only did I end up taking his house, I took his job as well. Well, I basically filled that role. So originally it was supposed to be like maybe 3 or 4 months at the max of creative, like get in, revitalize the menu, sort of Melbourne, buy it, modernize it, make some tweaks, do that sort of creative stuff and learn the language as much as I can, like understand, how things work here, meet the people and so on, so that I wasn't just jumping into a new restaurant like completely blind. But look, like anything, it can drag out, and in this case, it's dragged out to sort of 8 or 9 months. So yeah, it's basically it's been a full-time executive role across. For the first few months, it was every venue, so there's sort of like 6 or 7.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's two. There's an Ulacan, there's 2 watercresses, a common, and then there's another Milk and Madu on the way. So we just refined it after a few months when we realised it was going to take a bit longer to get Longtime open. We just sort of refined the role to focus only on Milk and Madu, which is still a giant job. Because there's 3 of them and they're spread out. They do 1,000 covers a day.
1,000 covers a day? Good grief.
Busy day, yeah, for sure.
Wow. So is it really booming over? It sounds like it is. It sounds like everyone, like have things gone back to normal over there in terms of tourism?
Yeah, they have. Like everywhere that came out of COVID, there was a boost. You know, we're quite stats driven with this company because it's so big. Obviously, you need to be, but we look at figures, and that first year out of COVID was, the biggest on record, and then the next year was once again massive, and then this year it is still trending in the right direction, but it's at different times. Like, we thought that this Christmas and New Year's was going to be, the biggest ever, and it just wasn't. But then February, March have been extra busy, and it's extra busy now. Like, now is usually quiet, and there's so many Aussies and Kiwis here, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, wow. And how's your
on a sale or something?
well, maybe before the school holidays, that's right. And how's your Indonesian going?
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah,
I'm making a point of learning too. So I work with Indonesians all day, and the Balinese are lovely. Most of the chefs don't speak English, so I think it's my responsibility to learn. I've always wanted to learn a second language, and then learning Tereo is one thing, but we never really speak it, do we? We know come here, cat, dog, numbers and stuff, and you use it, but you never have a conversation in Māori. I mean, I don't.
No.
But I thought I might have missed that boat because there's no reason for me to learn another language living in Australia. And then, when I got here, it's like, perfect. It's something I never thought I'd get to do, and it's exciting. Like, I really like doing it. I do a lesson every day with one of the front of house staff, and make a point of using it as much as possible, even if you don't need to. And it's going good. I can definitely get by and certainly get myself out of the pickle if I need to.
Well, I think necessity is a really good teacher. When you've got a reason to learn something, then you do. And I really like that you are. It's really respectful, obviously, to be in a country and speak their language. So it's great. Because also, how would you get on, like with suppliers and things? You'd need to have that language.
Look, it sort of leads into a few things, but one of the things that we have here is an entire purchasing department, so I don't actually need to really speak to suppliers or anything. But look, it's not a moot point, but regardless, everyday interactions, going into a shop, just being polite and just speaking, the local language gets you a lot further and a lot of benefits, especially because there is such a big tourism culture here. And whilst Bali has people have certain perceptions of it, and you see what you see online, people being idiots and so on. The majority of people that come here are really respectful and well behaved, but there is that element of hooliganism and shittiness that sort of does impact the way that some locals view you if they think that you're just another tourist. So the moment you show some niceties, speak a bit of the hustle to them, they immediately treat you like one of their own.
Yeah. And I'm sort of interested because it's been quite a long time since I've seen you in person, and we spoke on the podcast a long time ago, it feels like. And since then, we ran into you in Byron, and you were doing cool things there. How has your approach to cooking changed over time?
It's almost probably gone full circle, to be honest. I think I guess your cooking is a result of your environment. And if we go right back to the start at, say, Declieu, my environment was basically carefree, no rules. You could pretty much do whatever I wanted because you had nothing to lose. And that was at a time when hospitality was still thriving on most levels. Staffing wasn't really an issue. Inflation wasn't happening. People were really interested in local cafes and restaurants because it was part of the MasterChef movement. And I was sort of like young and carefree and almost careless, so I just cooked things that were fun and interesting. And then as you sort of grow, I guess you have to start fitting into different shapes, I guess, as a metaphor. And depending on how hands-on your owners are, or how complex your menus need to be, then you start having to really, it's less about the creative, more about the logistics. And that path I sort of felt like just continued right up till basically till Bang Bang. And then I just needed to do something free again, and that's why I started the catering business. But I think now my approach is almost back to the start, because I've got the resources. I think it's sort of quite a lot to unpack, but the industry sort of turned. I can speak for most chefs. It forces you to not become a no chef, but you have to be can we actually realistically do that chef? When your owner says, or your boss says, we want you to make the noodles and the rotis in-house, and you're just like, well, that's pretty much impossible, because we're understaffed as it is, and that's going to be very difficult. Whereas now, my business partners and I talk about making rotis and noodles in-house, and it's just like, yes, absolutely, we'll do that, because that's the best option, and we can.
Yeah.
So I think my attitude is, I don't know, it's probably come full circle in a way. But the foundations are always the same. I still like to break rules, but I still sort of find myself heavily rooted in the fundamentals, and especially if I'm doing something outside of Western food, which I often am. Like if it's a tonkotsu ramen, I'll do a deep dive into the purest form that I can find of that dish, and try and get that to a stage where I will hopefully put it in front of a ramen master, and they would accept it, and then maybe I might start trying to make it my own in other ways, but usually it just stays where it is.
How do you get there? So you do a deep dive. Where are you diving into? Is it like YouTube or
YouTube?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
It's always YouTube. There's just so much there. I find if I watch 100 videos, I might take something from each of them.
Yeah.
And then it's just trial and error. I mean, like say kimchi and ramen, took me years.
How do you know? How do you know when you arrive? Do you just go, I've got it now? Is it that, or is it you always thinking about tweaking and improving?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm always tweaking and trying to improve, and sometimes to the detriment. But I think that's just the type of curious nature I have. I'm always like, could we do this and could we do that? And in the past, I've had chefs working with me going, you're chill, you're stop. Chill out. It's like, what if there's something amazing there to find? I don't know. I think it's a feel. Like once you get to a point where you're sort of completely in touch with the process, and you don't need a recipe, and you don't need, to weigh everything. And that's when you can sort of go, well, this is now my recipe. This is my item, my dish, and then I would start to get technical. And again, that's when I start to write a recipe for it. I think when you got that natural feel, that's the spot.
Yeah. I'm all about uplifting hospitality, but there's still a lot of top-down critique from certain media outlets and so on. Who are you cooking for? Obviously, you're cooking for the diner, but is there a shadow figure of what people will say about your food? What drives you?
I don't know. I think it's just a progression, like once you're in this thing, like I've acknowledged that this is my career. I enjoy it. It's taking me places. We got to move to a beautiful place in Byron Bay to open what turned out to be, basically the chin of the north.
Yeah.
It's an iconic, it's an institution, and I'd say we'd be doing the same here with Longtime, sort of filling that niche market. But I don't really cook for anyone. I mean, I cook for everyone. It's my job, which I guess it's my career. Like, I love doing it, and it's exciting. And I don't know, maybe I do it for myself.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
It's good.
I mean, I love seeing people eat the food, but look, at the end of the day, I have to enjoy it. So, you know what? Fuck it, I do it for me.
Yeah. So tell me about Longtime. So it's set to open in August. Is that right?
Yeah,
Where
that's right. So
where is it in terms of where is it on the island?
it's in Bali, which is suburb nestled right next to Canggu.
Oh,
So it's right in the thick of it. You know, so you've got like sort of Seminyak, Pettitingit, Bali, Brala, Canggu, and then Trinidad. So it's all in that sort of that strip there of big suburbs, big beach clubs, awesome restaurants. It's really close. It's on a sort of new strip. We've got like Mosto there. There's a Ghost Kitchen. But Longtime it's a collaboration, or it's a partnership between myself, Jordi Strabos, and Pablo Foucault, who are the founders and owners of the Banksia Hospitality Group, which is the umbrella to Milk and Madu, Brotherhood, Longtime, all the restaurants under that banner. And Randa Assi, she is the general manager of the group at the moment, and she is ex Gordon Ramsay, Mays. Like, she opened London, New York for him. We actually worked together randomly for a short term back at the Lucas Group a long time ago. And so she's a GM, and she's the fourth partner, and that's us. It's contemporary, modern, Australian, Asian bar and restaurant, looking at about 140 seats. You know, very much a I won't say a departure from Chin Chin and Bang Bang, but very much a progression in in my sort of culinary journey. It's still all of that sort of rock and roll, hip hop, big flavors. Southeast Asian, Japanese, Chinese, but a little bit more refined, like a little bit cleaner than Bang Bang, and more. It's just a progression. Bang Bang was 6 years ago, and this is where I'm at now.
yeah.
Having, grown, evolved, and developed my skill sets, I guess.
And I read in the press release, or the blurb, that there's a big, is it an 8-meter bar?
Yeah.
So, that sounds huge. So I'm picking that drinks will be important as well.
Very important. But the bar is 8 meters. It's a beautiful marble bar, and it's all one level. So it's like, the cocktail bartenders, they won't make the cocktail, then put it up on the bar. They slide it across.
Nice.
So it's really intimate, really nice. There will be food at the bar. We get set every night as if it's a restaurant seat. So it'll be a really cool spot to sit. Sitting at the bar.
Is it an open kitchen?
Not really.
No.
The layout didn't really suit it. Like, it is viewable. Like, I think the pass is 4 meters open, and then there's stained glass windows either side of it, so you can definitely see the action and you can feel it. Like, it's not just a hole in the wall, but there's no seating around it, and there's no sort of viewing deep inside the kitchen. But once again, our pass is that singular level, so whatever the chefs are doing there, they just want to slide it out. So if people want to come and look, I can definitely see it, and you will feel like it's part of it, because all the action, noise and stuff behind that sort of front facade will still contribute to the experience.
Will you be on the pans?
No, my role is I'm not on any pans. No, absolutely not. So my role is predominantly an in-restaurant role, like an on-the-floor role. So I will expedite when required from outside the kitchen, and I'll be at tables quite a lot. So, the vision of Pablo and Geordie is, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm glad I'm the beneficiary of it. But they know that everyone wants to talk to the chef. Everyone's always interested to ask questions and talk about and so on. And most of the time the chef is busy in the kitchen. But because we have the resources, we can facilitate a sort of more of a modern role where I'll take food out to the tables and go, hey guys, how are we doing? Like, want a round of this, or I'm going to recommend this. And they really want to have that experience where I'm accessible to the guest, and we're sort of building this brand around that. So no, it's not a one hands role. Obviously, I'll be in the kitchen training, and during prep hours and stuff, I'll be hands on. But no, not at all. It's a completely new style chef role. So I'm excited about.
That's great, because I think in our first conversation we talked about sustainability of not just food and produce and protecting the planet, but also sustainability of chefs. And I think that it's a wise move to as you go on to keep yourself in the game, to change that role, which sounds like a really nice way of doing it. So you're bringing all your expertise to it, and it's great. I like it.
I like it too. I mean, one of the things that we did talk about, is amongst all this, the challenges and struggles of being hospitality, the thing that sort of kept me in it was, the social aspect, and the meeting people, the fact that you can just have fun and joke around and take the piss all day. You can't do that in the office.
No.
So now that actually to be sort of an official part of my job description. Not just be a larrikin on the clock, but actually, you have to.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's a nice progression, and it is a nice departure from the traditional chef role.
That's right. You get all the creativity aspect, and then the delivery, I guess, as well. So it's perfect.
I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, Bali has seasons, but not quite the same seasons as we have here. What does that mean in terms of a menu and seasonality?
Nothing really. However, it would almost be easier if there was seasons.
Yeah.
Because there is a few, like there's the rainy season, and there's some things that you can or can't get. And if it rains too much, things get washed away. Like herbs, like sometimes it's hard to get things like coriander in that because the whole valley got washed out. Finding produce here has been one of my biggest challenges. Like I thought that everything that I could get in Australia, I could get here, and it's quite the opposite. Indonesia has a really strict set import laws. Obviously, because it's so huge, I didn't really even know. Like, there's 300 something million people in Indonesia. They pretty much have their own economy. They don't need anything else, so they don't really let you bring things in that they could sell or make themselves. So like my favourite brand of fish sauce and oyster sauce, Mega Chef, which I'm accustomed to using, it's in all my recipes. You can't get it here, even though Thailand's just up the road. You have to use Indonesian brands.
Yeah, right.
All of our beef is imported. So we're using Aussie beef, Kiwi beef. Pork we get here, but I've had to source like a local heritage breed black pig, which I'm really happy about. It's a beautiful product, but I had to find that. And just even things like spring onions, like they don't grow big spring onions here very easily. So if I want to use a lot of spring onions all peeled up or long like we used to, you have to basically slice chives. So there's heaps of stuff that I thought would just be a transfer from Southern Northern Rivers just due to like there being a similar climate.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not the case. Certainly not the case at all.
Wow.
From there, a lot of cool new recipes have come out too. I'm kind of, something I'm grateful, but if I look back and say, what are the positives, like instead of just falling back on, recipes that I've always had that I've just sort of used again and again, I had to rethink and restart, which really, like looking back at it, I probably should be doing that anyway. So that's the positive. Like I've come up with some things that if I hadn't been challenged, I would have just used something, a version of something I've had before.
Yeah. Can you, August is a little way off, and I'm not sure where you're at with the menu and whether things might change by then, but what are some examples of some dishes that people could expect at Longtime?
Well, the menu is done.
Congratulations.
Like there's going to be some classics, like I think like five spice braised, twice cooked, pork belly with tamarind sauce will probably be one of our biggest sellers. We're obviously making all our own dumplings, corn and pork dumplings. We've got some beautiful local, like hamachi, it's a sashimi, I think. We've had some, we've got a really nice supply of oysters. They are Canadian, because the local oysters, I just don't love them. But we've actually had Cavallo, which is a crockery and like plateware company, create it for us some ceramic oyster shells. So we're going to keep them, because this climate, keeping things cold and serving things that are really cold is quite challenging. So we're going to have these big Canadian oysters served on ice in these frozen ceramic oyster-shaped shooters that come straight out of the freezer. So they're going to hit the table like rocking cold. And then we've got some fun stuff, like we've got a dry ramen. When I say dry, it's not dry as in it's dry, but it's not a soup. And it's sort of served with, big slab of bone marrow. We make our own house tare, so we smoke all the fish frames and reduce that down with soy, all the different dehydrated parts of fish, and that's sort of like a common theme throughout some of our dishes. Just heaps of fun versions of things that everyone knows, but sort of not what you would expect if you read it. We're keeping the menu quite simple in its wording, and then what happens on the plate is always going to be, a couple of levels up.
Sounds amazing. I need to obviously come to Bali.
You do. Everyone needs to come to Bali. I got a couple of Thai curries. Like I've always my mussel and curry at Bang Mang's was pretty famous, and we've got a version of that. But once again, it's elevated. It's progressed. It's not just curry and meat and potatoes in a bowl tasting delicious. There's a bit of a spin on it. We've reworked it. Everything's just sort of got I don't like to really say a spin, but everything's just, I guess, elevated and becoming its own dish for a long time specifically.
Yeah.
There's nothing recycled. There's nothing just the same because we've done it anywhere else because it was good. It's like that's not good enough. This place has to have the best and the newest of each thing. So it's a good process. Pablo and Geordie are really in tune with what's happening out in the world, and their feedback and the way that we work together has been really productive. So I'm stoked, and the menu's feeling really good.
That's so great. Perhaps just to finish off with, because now you've had all these different experiences, you've had a really varied career, and at one point you thought about getting out of it and going more of a music way, but then you came back into it, and it sounds like you're really excited by things. What would your advice be to a young person starting out as a chef?
Oh, Joan, it's such a stitch up. Don't do it. I don't know, man. Like, it's just hard. Like, when this is, and it's a massively loaded question because, like, working in Northern Rivers in the last 6 years, like, staffing became the hardest thing. And then, you think you'd get a kid who really wanted to do it, and he'd tell you, I want to do it. And you'd say, look, you're going to be on a section for 6 months learning your trade. You're not going to move. They'd be like, yeah. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like, why aren't I the head chef?
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I don't know if I answer that question. Is there anyone out there listening? Like, are there young chefs still coming through? Does anyone actually want to hear it? Because I still talk to all my buddies back home, and obviously I read the news. It's like, what's happening in that industry? It's breaking. If it's not broken, it's breaking.
Yeah.
So where is everyone? Where are the chefs? What incentive is there? If someone was listening to my answer, I would say, I don't know. I don't know what I would say.
Well, maybe it's more, what do we say to the industry? How do we make sure that, well, that's a much bigger question. How do we make sure the industry doesn't break completely? Yeah. I mean, the people that I speak to, you all love it.
So you go.
No, I was going to say, all of the chefs that I speak to, it's hard, and it's certainly got many challenges, but you do love what you do, and it would be great if we could sell that to young people.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Look, I mean, I would say, like, I love what I do. I don't feel like I really have a job. Like, I get to be creative. I get to travel. And I did actually, because I had a conversation with a young guy last week in Abbotsford. He'd been working at McDonald's, and I said to him, look, that's actually a good place to work, because they have great systems and they set you up. But he said, I quit. I said, why? Because I just didn't like it. And in my head, I'm like, well, this is what's wrong, isn't it? Like, of course you didn't like it. I didn't like my first job. It was horrible. It was the hardest job I've ever had to this day. But, like, that's what sets you up. And I said, look, I get to travel. I get to eat a lot. I get to hang out with cool people. Those are the positives. But on the flip side, if I'm in a bar and someone asks me about hospitality, and like you said, what do we say to the industry? I mean, it's the second largest industry in Australia, and it seems like every piece of legislation or every rule change or every tax advice is geared to squeeze it and just kill it. There's no incentives. There's no real incentives. There's no real government support. And I mean, the award rate is a good example. So, like, where else? I mean, I don't think there's in any other industry where the law says that someone unskilled, untrained, with no experience can walk in off the street and immediately get, by the letter of the law, that's like 75 to 80% of the wage that the head chef might be getting. Like, you've never seen an apprentice walk onto a job site and get 80% of the wage that the foreman gets. The foreman's on 300 grand. The apprentice is on 30 grand.
Yeah.
But in hospitality, a dish you can walk in, they're getting $32 an hour. The head chef might only be getting 40.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
That's right.
Who decides what the award is? Because it's terrible.
Yeah.
Payroll tax, payroll tax is like 4.5% on top of super, and not everyone really knows this, but this is a throwback to either the First or Second World War, when the government didn't want companies growing too large because they wanted everyone to stay in their little pockets. If you had more than 20 staff, you'd have to start paying an extra amount of tax. So it was geared to keep businesses small. But that never got taken away. They just stayed there. So we still just pay 4.5% payroll tax. It's just a tax for just having staff. So wouldn't the incentive be like the more staff you have, the more people you employ, the less tax you have to pay?
Yeah.
It's backwards. It's completely backwards. And I just personally got very, very tired of it. That and all the other red tape around.
Well, of course. Is it?
The Northern Rivers was an absolute quagmire.
Is it different over there? Have you got, you can get staff over there?
I'll just say this. put up an advertisement for a recruitment fair, and we were staffing the entire venue of Longtime. So, like maybe 50 or 60 staff. And through all the CVs that we received, I filtered through over 100 and chose, a pile of good candidates conference room, and we spent one entire day doing interviews, and we hired the entire staff, front of house and back of house.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was selecting the best. Mind you, Milk and Madu and the group does have a reputation for being, a good employer to work for, so I'm grateful for that. And there is the incentive here to work for busier places, because the staff receive 6% of, so there's GST, there's service tax. So staff get their share of 6% of their revenue, which is pretty good, for them. So the busier the place, obviously, basically it's tips, but it's an enforced tip. So if you come here and you buy dinner, you don't tip anyone. It's included in the price. All the menus say it, so it's much better. But then that amount is set aside and it's divvied up between all the staff. But of course, everyone wants to work in the biggest, busiest venues.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. And they probably do work and want to work. And
oh, they're so happy. Honestly, I haven't been an angry chef for a long time. I always tried not to be. But when you're working your ass off, and then you've got a front of house backpacker who just couldn't give a shit, and it's your heart and soul on a plate, and they don't care, that affects you. And that's the past. So here, and it wasn't everyone, obviously, that's just examples, but they're so happy here. Everyone's smiling. The Hindu culture also plays a big part in that. They're all so happy. They're all so polite. They really respect hierarchy and seniority. So there's really no reason for anyone to be upset.
Yeah.
If I said to the chefs, cook the scrambled eggs on one leg, they wouldn't even question it. They'd just start doing it.
Yeah.
And they'd do it with a smile.
Yeah. Well, good. What are you most looking? What are you most looking forward to about opening?
I think that's it. Just opening. I think once you see your vision and all your hard work come to life, and you see, it's like when you say, "Oh, this is my baby." It's like watching something grow up. It's obviously in utero right now, and then it's sort of born, and then you raise it. And I think with any open, you get that initial hit of opening and so on, and then I think the best part is when it's sort of just humming along, and it's all just working nicely, and everyone's happy. And I think I really look forward to sort of seeing that. That's when you've really done the work. Anyone can open, of course you can open, but can you, sustain that buzz, that standard, or can you take that standard higher, 1, 2, 3, 4 months down the track, and then have it humming enough, set up enough, and all your systems and all your staffing is good enough that you can maybe take a step back and start talking with your with the business partners about the next project, and then you do that again and again and again. I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just putting this one on and just showing Bali what we can do, because it is different and it is new. There's nothing else like it, and just drowning in dopamine. We love that.
So exciting! Well, thank you. So great to hear all about it. I'm so glad you got in touch. And yeah, my next adventure is France in September, but I'll look to putting Bali on the calendar as well. But all the best. I'll be following you on social media anyway and seeing how it's all going. But so great to talk to you.
Awesome. So nice to talk to you again, Joe. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Tyler Preston at Longtime Bali. If you liked what you heard, you can jump on their Instagram at longtime.bali to keep up to date with when they open. Or you can go onto Tyler's own Instagram at Tyler_Mahi_Preston. That's TYLER_MAHI_PRESTON, because Tyler puts up really beautiful food photos. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com. And of course you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts and even leave a review, which is great. I would love it if you told a friend about my chats, because it's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.